want the volume and edge market width. So in a sense, my survival was rare, but it wasn't because of the time. My survival was rare was because the natural rate of attrition in the business is so high. Every year of my career, I always thought there was the end is soon. The end is soon. I mean, for 21 years, the end was always soon. Maybe not the very, very beginning, but I mean, 2003 was a really was not a very fun market in options that year. I remember, and we were starting to see, I got very lucky. I clerked for a very illustrious cast of characters. Everybody that I rotated with, I mean, some of the partners at Jane Street were people that I clerked for, people that are big shots now, that I got a chance to learn from. And in 2000, we were starting to there was more exodus to Jane Street. There was a lot of stuff kind of, getting scattered around this period of time. And I didn't know anything. All I knew was that the people that were older than me, they were making tons of money they're 24 and they're making lots of money. And I just thought that this was normal. And I think the big thing I ended up learning over the next few years, I witnessed a lot of changes in the market firsthand. I was, when I first got down there, we were still in fractions. So I watched decimalization happen. When we got down there, it was just when options went multi-list, and that meant going to 4 exchanges, right? Like before that, everything was a single list. And then the ISE came around a few years later, and that was sort of like that was kind of a big disruption when the ICE kind of came online. But so I kind of witnessed that. And then in 2003, I ended up moving over to the New York Stock Exchange, where I was a specialist. Well, I was a broker for a year. So we did this thing where at SIG, where they had a brokerage unit that they had acquired a couple of years earlier. And they had this idea of like, hey, let's take people that we've properly trained in like decision-making and trading and expectancy. Let's take that people with that mindset and bring them over to the New York Stock Exchange and see if we can trade underlying, because we're a derivatives trading firm. But can we go there and trade underlying? So we would do it on behalf of clients. So we would have clients, and you'd go in and you'd try to make better decisions for the clients. Like if they gave you a not held order, some clients would never do that. They were like limit order, or give you very strict instructions. I want to be, common kind of orders back then. I want to be 10% of the volume. I'll buy more on a print, that kind of thing. But they would, but on a not held order, it was like, okay, let's see if we can do better. I learned a lot about brokerage. What I learned is that you can't win. That's what I learned about that business, is that you're basically short an option. Like if I do better for you, you're like marginally happy, but you only remember when I miss it. So like over the long run, I think I'm doing better for you, but you don't remember that. So that's a losing proposition to be a broker. I don't like the way that felt. And then I spent a couple months being a specialist in ETFs. At the time, FEZ was the big one. Was kind of the Fez. Fez was the hot thing. There was Fez and FU was the other one, but FU didn't get that much volume. But Fez was kind of hot, and Fez was a pretty complicated one to price. I remember that was, and I kind of got thrown into that. I took over for another trader, got kind of thrown into the fire on that one. I did that for about 6 months, and that was before I went over to the NYMEX. That was another crazy, like, it was just like my career was like one thing after the other as far as like being right in the middle of disruption in a way. Because when I went to the NYMEX, when I first got over there, I was, I got going to the, we kind of figured things out a little bit, like get set up, go into options pit, we meet get a clerk in the futures pit that you're going to hand signal your order to. And like, I have to learn the hand signals. And that was a total mess of another kind, because now I'm in this pit and all the guys around me, and there's 100, I'm shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of dudes. I'm 6'1", and I'm a average to small guy in there. I mean, I'd be friendly. The guy next to me was an offensive lineman for Nebraska. Like, I'm around huge dudes, and you're trying to and their buddies already with the guys that are going to be doing the futures orders. So I'm like the new guy, and also, you're this firm Susquehanna, and you're going into this place where most of the people are locals, meaning they're trading their own money. The locals are trading their own money. So you were going over there, and they were not especially happy to see a large firm kind of go in there. So you got everything going against you in a way. And people are still trading on paper sheets. So, basically would get run over on every options trade I did. Everything I got filled on was like mostly what other people didn't really want, or I wasn't going to get my futures off, or I was the last, the broker's hint, broker comes in. He's like, I got 1,000 of these for sale. He divvies them up, whatever. Maybe I get a 30 lot out of the 1,000 or something like that. I go to hedge it. I'm the last person in the queue to get hedged because the futures guys buddies with everybody else. So it was right at the cusp of things going electronic, and we were built for that because we were built, like we were some of the early guys that had got tablets in the pit. We were ready. We had partnered with, we were using this vendor. I even helped them I noticed their gamma calculations were wrong on the software. I was like, hey, I think you guys should actually do it like this. And, we were sort of early adopters of the technology. And between that and things going electronic, which would level the playing field, we were able to sort of break in. So it was a good deal to go over there because they were kind of like, look, we've tried to go over there twice in the past. It's never worked. This time, this was the beginning of the commodity super cycle stuff. Oil was on its way to, this was 2005. So, oil was probably maybe 30, 40 bucks at the time, on its way up. And we were able to sort of break in this time. And Susk was like, they were super cool about it. Go over there, try not to lose a ton of money. Just try to get some traction. The long run, we think this would be a good place to be. And, we figured it out, probably within a year, we figured it out. My other guy I went over there with, he went into nat gas. I went into oil. That's how we split the duties. And then we started expanding the business after that.